So let's get started. So today we're going to talk about what happened last week. So the theme for today is green for the summer before it all turns orange, because of last week. So let's take a look at this cool picture. Does everybody see the picture on the left? The picture on the left is what the sky looked like when Z and I were on Central Avenue. We were picking something up, I forget, and we were on Central Avenue, and it was very
Jackie,
yeah.
are you trying to share your screen? We're not seeing it.
What?
Are you trying to share your screen? Because we don't see it.
You don't see it.
Well, we don't see it.
Oh,
Okay.
There we go.
Oh,
Now
okay.
we do. Yay!
yay. That's great. Okay. Do you see it now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, look. So there, to do this again, the picture on the left is the day, it was June 7th. And that's what the sky looked like. There's no filters. I'm not fancy pantsy. So that picture, that's not filtered. I didn't add anything to that. I just aimed my phone camera up and took the picture. So the picture on the right was 2 days later. I was at the Botanical Gardens on my birthday, and I thought, oh, the sky looks so clear. Yay. The air quality wasn't that great. Does anybody know what the air quality was like on that day, on June 7th? On that particular day. In that moment, when I took that picture, it was at 350, whatever that means. That's a number that they assigned for particles in the air, for a certain space of air that they capture. And it was considered hazardous on that day. 150 is, or 190, 150 and up is not healthy, unhealthy. And on the clear day, it was still fairly unhealthy. So what can we do on an individual level? Okay, because really a lot of the raising of the temperature has occurred due to gas and oil companies. They are at least 20% of the problem. And they've been given millions more to continue their oil exploration. And the only way to combat that is to just avoid plastic at all costs. Because once use goes down, they can't make any more plastic. When you go out and get an electric car, they can't, oil prices will bottom out at some point. So let's look at this. That's me on the left. The day we went to the Botanical Garden. That is a big tree. Did anyone know that we have sequoias, as in redwoods, here in New York? Was anyone aware of that? Well, we do. So there's a couple there's about 10 in the Botanical Gardens. There's one in front of someone's house in Brooklyn. And there's a couple more scattered about the northeastern states. But New York has a few. Oh, and then there's another famous one in Long Island. So this, to me, is a way to combat climate change, planting more trees, right? Do you think you could fit another tree in your backyard? Give it a whirl. We did it at the library. I planted a white Eastern pine. And the reason I chose a white Eastern pine, and I told everybody that 2 months ago, I chose a white Eastern pine because they are resistant to forest fires, almost as resistant as sequoias. Sequoias are fairly fire resistant. However, when an entire million of acres goes up in smoke, how resistant can these trees be? They can only be so resistant. So we have choices. And I forgot to put in a number 5. So let's go through the choices. Avoid plastic, right? Use bar shampoo, use bar body soap. Number 5 would be use bar conditioner. Utilize a water bottle, like when you come for a walk with Yam. And buy less and only buy what you need. That's the beginning, because one of the things that I'm seeing at CVS, and you can add to this conversation, instead of bar shampoos or bar hand soap, bar soap, I see a lot of bottles with liquid. Does anybody know why we need liquid soap? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Well, the simple answer is we don't need liquid hand soap. There's no need for it. You can use bar soap. And to that end, I made some, I don't know if you can see me in the my little window, but I made some bar hand soaps because we have a little seed library bingo that's going to happen. It's going to get started in a few days. We're going to give out, when you do the seed library bingo card, we give you free hand soap, and you see how you like that. But those I made from melt and pour soap. We got a big tub of very plain hard soap. I melted it, and I put in some essential oils, and I put in some calendula petals. And calendula petals are very good when you have itchy skin. And that's how I made the soaps. See, then we have like little bits of calendula blossom in there. So that's what I recommend. Tomorrow, when you go to the store and you need to get soap, get bar soap. I don't care what it is, Dove.
Yeah, I heard that the liquid soaps, they're pretty much like liquid detergent with all these chemicals that you use. You know, it's kind of bad for your skin and your body. That it's better to do the bar soap.
That's right. So in this case, we're going to come up with the name of that preservative. I have harped on this endlessly. Isothiazolinone. I can't believe I remembered that. I really need to get a free coffee from somebody because I remembered that word. That is an irritant, and it's found in every liquid soap, and it's used as a preservative, isothiazolinone, or dimethyl isothiazolinone. These chemical names are fun, so much fun to say. So let's go on. So part of what I'm going to do today is talk about ticks, right? I know I just made this big switch between air quality and ticks, but we're going to talk about ticks. Because why? Because there are a lot of ticks out now. And a good majority of them don't have Lyme disease. A lot of our ticks that are out there, because Lyme disease is caught, the tick catches the Lyme disease from the deer, because the little spirochete lives in the deer's blood, and the tick uptakes the deer blood and catches Lyme disease and then happily passes it to us. So these really gross pictures are pictures of ticks, particularly in this area. The Lone Star tick at the bottom is a little more rare, and that doesn't particularly give us Lyme disease. It gives us a really interesting allergy permanently to red meat, which I think is cool. I think that's a great allergy, you know, because then less cows will be slaughtered. But anyway, the Lone Star tick, it's very different looking from the dog tick. And does anybody know why there are 4 pictures of each tick?
Because when they're engorged with blood, they look different.
Right. So when you see the dog tick or the deer tick, the tiny, tiny little dot, actually, it's even bigger on the screen. Those are called in their nymphal states. And they bite you at that state. And as they get engorged, they start to get bigger. Some people confuse the dog tick with the Lone Star tick, but I can assure you the tick I had in my scalp in April, because ticks live under all of like the dead leaves over the winter. They burrow in the dirt and your dog can still get bitten. And of course, that's how I keep catching these stupid ticks, because my dog sleeps on my bed. And what did I do? I forgot to give my dog her tick medication. That's as important to you as it is to the dog. So I would recommend that if you have a dog or a cat, you make sure that they get their tick medication. In lieu of that, if you don't have a dog or a cat, I would suggest bug spray. Does everybody like those ticks that are in the background? That is courtesy of Phil Chopak, who did all the graphics here. So let's go to the next thing. Oh, I love that tick repellent. Look at that tick. He looks very scared. So the recipe: 1/3 cup of distilled water, 1/4 cup of witch hazel. It's going to rain. And 30 drops of essential oil. And so the tick repelling essential oils are lemongrass, peppermint, geranium, and cedarwood. Personally, my favorite combination is to combine peppermint and cedarwood. And so the best thing to do is to take a glass jar. This has washing soda in it that I made myself. We'll talk about that when I'm done. But take a glass jar and start investing in glass jars. They're very practical. So you put it in the glass jar, you shake it up, and you put it in a spray bottle. What I would like friends to do, I'm going to do a little ask from the friends. I'm going to get small 1 ounce bottles, not these, but I'm going to get smaller, tinier ones, and I'm going to fill them with this tick repellent recipe. And you get to tell me what you think of it. I'm going to include peppermint and cedarwood. And generally you shake it vigorously and you spritz it on. They say to reapply it every 2 hours if you feel that it's fading, you know, if you've been sweating or whatever. You could also put it on your shoes, your clothes, and your hair. Why? Because witch hazel doesn't take the dye out of your hair if you have dyed hair, like I do. It doesn't, it will dry your skin out, but in the summer, it's very refreshing. So that's my recommendation for tick repellent. Now we can also do it in like a solid, which I could do with beeswax as well. Each of these ingredients that I include in the soaps and the bar lotion, they can be used in different ways. So beeswax and cocoa butter can be infused with the essential oils, and you can use that as a solid rub, So let's move on. Any questions? Okay, let's move on. Are we at the end? Oh, I think we're at the end. We are at the end, so I'm going to stop sharing. So hi, everybody. Here we go. Okay, so beyond that, I just wanted to go through a couple of things, and then we'll talk about what you know about what we can do to make choices that are simple and cleaner in terms of what we're going to do. So I know I talked to all of you about wrapping. I would like to see all of you, if you don't stop using wrapping paper, at least reuse what you have, like gift bags and whatever. Stop buying new wrapping paper. If you need to wrap something, go somewhere that sells a natural fiber wrap and use that, or use newspaper, or use cloth. So this is an Animal Crossing pattern that I got from Joann's. Animal Crossing is a Switch game. So let's just say you're giving a gift to your grandkids, or if you have teenagers, or you're going to wrap up a game for somebody, you're going to buy someone a Switch game, or you're going to buy someone a Switch, let's say. You can wrap it up in the cloth. I've talked about this before, rather than because that's reusable. And when you give the gift to the person, say, listen, wash that cloth and reuse it as wrapping for one of your friends. And there's fancy ways of wrapping it. You cut it a certain way. Get away from bags, gift party bags that are coated in plastic. Frequently at the Crestwood Library, we use brown paper bags with a handle, and we decorate the bag with watercolors or markers, paint markers. And then you could sit in on Julie's card making class and make your own card with washi tape, rather than buy a card that is also coated in plastic. Okay, so I think it's time to make this shift away from these things that are ultra convenient and do something. While it may be inconvenient, it can also be a fun craft, right? You have to put together a gift and you need to get a card. Don't get the card. Always keep on hand some blank white cards. You could go and buy white cardstock, fold them in half, and get some stamps. Oh my goodness, a stamp. That's for graduation. Salvatore's invitations, I use the stamps, right? Then there's a "You're Invited" stamp. So cool. And look, if your friend likes llamas, you can make a card with a llama stamp. Or come to the Crestwood Library and ask if you could use our stamps. We have a box full of them. We have so many stampers. I like stampers. They're cool. Okay. Any questions? No? So let's talk about washing soda. Yay, washing soda. Okay. What is washing soda? It's basically baking soda that you bake in the oven at 400 degrees for an hour and a half. It changes the chemical. It makes it caustic a little bit. And it's great to add to your laundry soap. So unfortunately, 7th generation was bought out by Unilever, but Unilever is trying to be a nice company, sort of. So you can utilize this, and you use this as a laundry additive. It takes out smells. It can take out some stains. If you have really set-in stains, of course, you have to pre-treat them. I'm not here to tell you how to do your laundry. I'm here to give you options for better choices, right? Ooh. This and washing soda. And you can keep your washing soda in a glass jar rather than plastic, okay? Because you can make your own. You grab the baking soda, grab a pan, one of the big, cookie sheets, sprinkle the baking soda all over it, pat it down, turn on the oven to 400, stick that in there, give it an hour and a half, then turn off the oven, let it cool, and then you got washing soda, or at least a version of it, instead of going to buy the washing soda, which costs like $6, big box. Okay. Oh, and look, ooh, witch hazel. Witch hazel is part of the recipe for the tick repellent. This is also good for makeup remover. We'll do that maybe next month. I've talked about makeup remover, utilizing coconut oil, but there's also a version with coconut oil and witch hazel, because then you could take it off your whole face. Okay. Now, does anybody know why when you make your own do-it-yourself sprays and or essential oil, why do you have a dark colored bottle? Does anyone know why? Anybody?
Is the sun affected?
Yes, the sun affects, it takes away it, the effectiveness of the essential oil. It destroys some chemical bonds, I think, something like that. I'm generalizing, really. A chemistry major, wow. A chemistry major would be able to explain it better. But that's why you would, anything you do it yourself that utilizes an essential oil, you want a clouded bottle. Now, I make my own glass cleaner. I no longer purchase Windex. I use alcohol and, okay, I'm not gonna go on, but I know there's cornstarch in it. Alcohol, something, something, and cornstarch. I have that. I used to have it in the blog. We'll talk about that next month. I'll give out the recipe for that. That I don't use an essential oil. I think it's vinegar. Vinegar, yeah, it's vinegar, alcohol, and cornstarch. And the cornstarch is really the thing that makes it streak-free. So I make my own. I no longer buy Windex. It makes me sneeze anyway. Any questions? Okay. So in lieu of making your own liquid soap, because I do use solid bar dish soap, but I also cheat and get liquid soap. So I get this stuff. And it doesn't have the harsh chemicals that like Dawn has. You only use Dawn if there's been an oil spill and a bunch of animals are covered in black grease. That's what Dawn is good for. Otherwise, you're destroying your skin and you're irritating your lungs. So Dawn dish soap, that's for oily, greasy birds, okay? All right. Let's see. So let's talk about the soaps. Any questions about my soaps? All right, this one is a stitch soap. So what I do, and when I calculated the price for solid soap, it turns out that if I make my own bar soap, I knew that was going to happen. If I make my own bar soap and bar shampoo, I'm saving more money if I went out and bought my own shampoo. So my suggestion is that I get the solid soap from Bulk Apothecary, and that's what YPL did for the soaps that we're going to give out for the seed library bingo, which will be happening soon. So get your bingo cards. We're going to put out an announcement. We're going to tell everybody when the seed library is here. So far, are there any questions? Anything you would like to add to this? Things that you have found in your own day-to-day that you found to be helpful in terms of staying away from plastic?
Jackie,
Yeah.
bar shampoos, do you have some names of some?
I do. The Earthling Company is the Earthling Co. C-O period.
Uh-huh.
They sell bar shampoos. Whiff, WHIFF, also sells bar shampoo. And I saw some bar shampoo. Now it's listed as for men, but I think it's for women too. You could safely use it. I saw them selling bar shampoo at Value Drugs.
Oh,
That's bar shampoo. These big, the Man Company or whatever, just as you're going down towards the pharmacist at the back of the store.
right. Oh, thank you.
Would you find it helpful if I curated a list of different bar shampoos.
Well, this is good. You gave me 3 ideas here.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they're not hard to use. People have cited, oh, well, I have to rub the bar on my head and that takes a long time. Of course, it's not as easy as putting your hand out and squeezing a glob onto your hand.
Yeah.
However, you're not using as much of the shampoo. It's made with simple ingredients and it's, it's not harsh on your scalp. Basically, it's just this round bar and you're just rubbing it up against your wet hair and then you soap it up and then rinse it out and then use bar conditioner. If you go to Amazon, you just put in bar shampoo and conditioner and put in unscented
Okay.
and you'll come up with a whole list. I would suggest unscented if you have allergies.
Yeah.
Lavender is one of the biggest allergens for people. So I would avoid things like lavender and rose, my 2 favorite scents that I can't even go near.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's good. I'm just making notes here.
Yeah, no, please. But you know what? I will curate a list with the prices because some bar shampoos are $11.99, some are $13, but they last for months, especially if you don't wash your hair every single day,
Right.
which that's not necessary. Unless
Yeah.
you're a construction worker and you was sweating through your scalp every day, you don't really need that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I would just, if you can, switch to solid hand shampoo, solid hand soap
Handsome.
bars. And then just save your liquid soap for guests, leave the bar soaps out for your family and put out the little containers of, liquid soap for guests.
Right.
Some people get like icked out by using someone's bar soap. It's got surfactants in it. So any germs that might linger get washed out of the soap anyway.
Okay.
It would have to be really something extraordinary.
Yeah.
But also these things are better for you. But making your own, I have to say, has been tons of fun. And for those of you, let me get this up here. For those,
Jackie, is your tick repellent also pet friendly?
it's pet friendly, and I can make a pet version of it because I think you have to make it like a little different formulation for pets. But I'm going to check on it. Yes, it's pet friendly because animals, it's the same thing. There's a lot of witch hazel can be used on animal fur. But that's why I always suggest that you give that medication. It's like a little chewy square. You get it from the vet because there's a double benefit with that. And I know some people don't want to give medication to your pets, but that's why you give what is for the size of the animal, right?
Mm.
The thing is that when they take the medication, it comes out when they sweat. The medication comes out of their skin and it lingers on their hair. And you could see the ticks are like, and they're easy to take off because they're dying, And the thing is when you pet your dog, right, you're getting the benefit of, and it's not dangerous the way people say it is. Because what's more dangerous is getting Lyme disease. So there are trade-offs that we have to agree on, right? If we want to hike outside, what are some of the things that we can do other than my fabulous do-it-yourself tick spray? What are some things we can do when we hike out in tall grass and wooded areas?
Long sleeves, long pants.
Long sleeves, long pants, and they don't have to be heavy. Linen or cotton, anything that would make it hard for the tick to get to your skin. Whatever exposed skin you have, you spray with the repellent. If you're a frequent hiker, I would use the delicate stuff, and the stuff with DEET in it, I would use it once in a while. I hate to say that, but spray it on your clothes so you're not putting it directly on your skin. You can use permethrin and wash your clothes in it, and permethrin is actually a natural, it comes from the geranium, I think. But it is also a very good bug repellent. And you can wash your clothes with it, and the repellent is there on your clothes. The problem is sometimes it makes people itch, permethrin. I don't know about you, but when I put bug spray on, by the end of the day, I'm a little itchy. It's still a better trade-off. I'd rather have that than have a tick stuck in my scalp like I did. Ripping it out was horrible. It was like the grossest thing ever. And I must have had it in my scalp for like a week. But thank God I didn't really have any rash. The other thing is you should check yourself. If you think you've been bitten by a tick, you check to see if you have any rashes for 2 weeks straight. Anything that's round, that has like a white circle and is pink on the inside and has, anything circular, that's called the bullseye rash. And that's generally from the deer tick. I don't think dog ticks transmit Lyme disease, but maybe they do. I don't think they do though, because deer ticks are different. A dog tick has that patch of light color around its neck. The deer tick does not. Do we have deer in this area? Yes, we do. We have deer in Bronxville. We have deer in the wooded area off of Reed Avenue. I've seen a few lately, not really. But we also have quite the collection of cats, squirrels, moles, voles, mice, rats. What am I missing? Raccoons. We have bats. But I'm not sure bats transmit ticks. It might. Don't quote me on that. But the one that really transmits ticks are mice. So if you have mice in your house, more than likely they have ticks. I feed the squirrels outside. They probably have a few ticks. But the good news is that the local governments, and I read this a few years ago, scientists have discovered a way to treat the ticks, not the deer, by spraying the ticks with some kind of chemical that kills the spirochete, so that when the tick bites you, it's not passing the Lyme disease spirochete, which I thought was awesome. And I don't know how often they spray that thing, but I know that that does exist because they know they're never going to stop ticks. They're always going to be around. It's like fleas. And how are you going to stop mosquitoes? And do you really want to stop mosquitoes? That's what the bats eat. And oh yeah, what else do we have? Opossums, and they eat ticks. This is such a gross conversation. I can't even. Okay, so any other questions? Because we're going to talk about some literature that I would like you to take out of the library, our library. This is the book where I get much of my recipes from. Simply Living Well by Julia Watkins. We have this book in the library. I urge you strongly, strong urge to take the book out from our library. It has many of the recipes that I use. I dropped that. One in particular, it has food recipes. It also has like this, hardwood floor cleaner recipe. I take a lot of my stuff from here. And it works. One of the things she recommends that you buy, if you're going to buy something liquid, she always recommends Sal Suds, Dr. Bronner, Sal Suds. all of her cleaners, like oven cleaner, utilizes baking soda. Lemon liquid dish soap. It's a combination of water and salt suds and lemon. And then she suggests natural cleaners, right? Not that I'm trying to start a home ec class here, but what I am suggesting is that you come to our library to educate yourself. Use your library card so that you can take out these books and use them, because I know there's bug repellent in here. There's also syrups. I even think she has a recipe for lemonade. I don't think she has an actual recipe for your own homemade soap. Has anyone here made soap from scratch? I'll take that as a no. Wow. Just wow. Okay, so let's admit Alexis Smith. Does anyone know what you would start with homemade soap? You could just do a little hand raise. You can, if you were to make Castile soap, you would use olive oil. And in order to saponify olive oil, coconut oil, or any other oil, you have to use lye. Lye sounds scary, but once you heat it up with your fat, meaning coconut oil or olive oil, the lye goes from being a scary caustic chemical to something very nice, like soap. And one day I'm going to do this, and I'm going to film myself making soap with goggles and gloves, because apparently it can be done without getting all scared and everything like that. But for now, we can go to Bulk Apothecary and buy their saponified soaps, which is what I'm suggesting doing. They even have melt and pour soap that you can turn into a version, your own version of Dove soap. Because how many of you use Dove plain soap? Anybody use Dove? Yeah, Julie, I use it too. My kids use it on their face. That's always recommended by, doctors. They recommend that you use Dove soap, especially unscented, but you can scent it too. So we'll do that too. Any questions? Okay, let's go to the next book. So if you've noticed, for those of you who have stopped by the library, have you seen the raised bed outside, which is now getting a fabulous soaking? So at the raised bed, we have basil and parsley, cilantro that I grew from seed. Some of the things I grew from seed, some of them I cheated because they didn't grow. A few things my cats ate. I had nice little growths here, and my cats decided, oh, let me take a sample and just chop the top off of the sunflowers. So we have a sunflower that's growing on the side of the building, and we have tons of cucumbers. The cucumbers flowering. The cilantro is growing. It's really tiny right now. The parsley is mostly grown. And we have thyme that has flowered that will be turning to seed. So I'm going to chop those off and save the seed for next year. So we're going to pass on seed that we grew. But when the sunflower grows, we're going to harvest the seeds, give half to the birds, because we're going to honor the harvest by sharing half of what we grow with the animals. But also, we have 4 felt bags, literal bags, and we're growing potatoes, because potatoes are the most versatile food, and they're very good for people who are experiencing food scarcity or food insecurity. So some of those potatoes that we're going to harvest, we are going to donate to some organizations in Yonkers. And they're starting to bloom out of the bags, and they're flowering, which means little baby potatoes are being made. while we speak. How many have you ever grown potatoes? I love the idea of growing a potato. We also grew onions, and not shallots. We grew, see this is another book. The Kitchen Garden. I'm going to get that for the library because it talks about what's good for a little garden if you don't have a lot of space, when you should harvest it, when you should sow it, when you should put it outside. One of their recommendations is that you plant your potato seeds, you plant them in November, and they overwinter, and you cover them up with hay and compost so they're nice and sleepy and tired and they're protected. And then they show up early spring. So that's what I like. And this is DK Publishing. So I like this book, but I can't recommend this book enough. I know I think we got it back. Someone borrowed it from another library, but definitely take it out. The next book, and I think we have this. If we don't have it, I'm going to donate it. The Climate Crisis and the Global Green New Deal by Noam Chomsky, who is a linguist, but he also co-wrote it with a climate specialist. And it's a really great, nifty little book that talks about what our reluctances are about really doing something for the environment. What do we need to know? What's the truth out there? So I like this little volume. And then this one. Being the Change, Live Well and Spark Climate Revolution by Peter Kalmus. I believe that Peter Kalmus is, he's an atmospheric scientist that works for NASA. And he's the guy who helps to take some of the pictures or is part of the program with the Jet Propulsion Lab. And they get the scientists who live up in the space station to take all those nifty and scary pictures of what's going on around the Earth. So if you ever wanted to look at what forest fires are taking place around the Earth, NASA takes those pictures. So it helps our atmospheric scientists figure out where are the hot spots. I will be blogging from Climate Central, which is an online group that talks about where the hot spots are in the United States. And right now, the Southwest seems to be pretty hot. New Mexico, Nevada, South California, really hot. They reach temperatures of 120 during July, August, and parts of September. And it's not good, not for the trees in California. And then you have the Northwest, who has gotten unusually warm climates. And a lot of climate deniers, they try to say, well, that's normal. No, I'm here to assure you, and I will give you the literature on it, that the high temperatures in Canada that have taken place, because we were going to talk about that a little bit. Those temperatures started back in March. I don't know how many of you know this, but Canada is supposed to be -20 to 80 degrees, right? Once in a while, they see a 90-degree day. And they had consistently dry, warm, abnormally warm temperatures during the spring. And that led to, once storms started, that led to lightning strikes, hitting dry vegetation and sparking a fire. So that's why we saw what we saw. And for me, the only way to combat this is to make better choices. And it's only going to be if a large group of us make these choices that make digging for oil and oil refinery inconvenient to the companies that do this. They need to see a drop in demand. And that's on you. You know, that's going to be buy glass. I realize glass, you break a glass, it's sharp, you might step on it, wear shoes, clean it up and put it in the recycling. Our recycling team in Yonkers, they love glass. They say, yes, recycle glass. They don't want to see any more plastic. They have enough plastic that, and some countries are trying to take plastic bottles and turn them back into petroleum products, which they have had success, but it's expensive. So are there any questions? Anything you would like to add to this discussion? Because I have rolled around to the end and we got to talk about what we're going to do next month. Any suggestions that you would like me to address for next month? I have my handy dandy pad and my pencil. Is there anything you would like me to do for next month? Okay.
Oh, wait, maybe mosquito repellent, or is there a natural sunscreen?
Well,
Oh, gotcha.
I made one last year. And the thing about it is, it was very good. It was because I used titanium dioxide. But when I made it, I also made it with, what's the white stuff? I forgot the name. I made it with powdered, it's that white stuff, like the titanium dioxide. Hold on, I have it in my closet. Hang on, because I have plenty of it. Hold on. Here we go, zinc. Yes. So I made sunscreen last year with cocoa butter. I probably could make it with something different, but this is a bag of zinc oxide, and it's in a bag because working with it, you can't breathe in the zinc oxide. Can I make some more? I suppose I could. I will look for better DIY ones, but that would suppose that the people who use it aren't allergic to zinc oxide. So we could do another redo of the sunscreen. Julie was here last year for last year's sunscreen. So, and the mosquito repellent, that's the bug spray that I said I was going to make. So we're going to make the bug spray, and friends will be part of that happening. I will get the small little bottles, not this size, a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to make out of that tick spray, that's bug spray. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but we're going to get all the ingredients for that. That actually may be another fun prize. I was going to.
Jackie,
Yeah.
we had a suggestion in the private chat about like clothes washing, about how to like create your own like washing solutions that are friendly, and then also about the importance of air drying versus like always throwing everything into the
Dryer.
the drying machine. So maybe
Yes.
like how to make your own clothesline, like what is the best
Wow.
pulley to use, and the different materials that you can use for the rope.
Well, I have nylon rope that you can use. We could talk about that next month. We did speak about using washing soda. But as far as like, oh, well, what I do, yeah, we could talk about that. We could talk about laundry soap, because there are some very good ones that are solid. Ruth Walter sent around the thin sheets, and they're actual soap, but we could talk about that too. Actually, I could call her about that. So soap sheets, we can do that. Yeah, and we can talk about air drying. And then we'll speak more about the harvest, because some things will be ready we're going to do this, hold on, let's talk about a date. So, hang on. It will be July, the second Wednesday. Yeah. July 12th is the day for the new Sustainable You. And I won't talk about scary air quality, which has probably improved with the rain. Wow, it got really dark. Look at this. Now it's like all bright and light. Okay, if there are no other questions, I say we be on our way. Please come to the Crestwood Library and take out some books about sustainability, okay?
Thank
Jackie, you said the
Yes.
12th for July?
July 12th, yes.
Okay, because I don't have it on my calendar, so I want to put it on July 12th. at 1.
Yay. Yeah, that would be good. I'll send you an email about August too. I'm usually like the second Wednesday of every month.
Okay,
That's how
Thank
I've been
you.
tracking. So, and next month we will talk about these things.
perfect.
Yes, and we got to talk about building. Oh, if you want to help me build, I have to build a cucumber fence. We need to build a cucumber fence. Big deal. I'll put out reminders so that people can come because the cucumbers are starting to send up tendrils. So yeah, we have to do that with some of my bamboo because I seem to have a lot of bamboo in my backyard. Anyway, okay, have a
Thank-
great day. Stay dry. Thank you for joining us for the new Sustainable You, and we'll see you next month.